A major change to the current governance model includes giving authority to the 65 schools in the ACC, Big 12, Big 10, Pac-12, and the SEC to adopt rule changes on specific student-athlete-oriented issues. This new process will ensure that rule changes in these areas have broad support among the 65 member schools. Because of the change in the governance structure, the 65 schools will be able to make rules to enhance the well-being of student-athletes and to advance their educational or athletics-related needs. The rest of Division I will be able to apply the same rules at the discretion of each conference. The 65 schools may make rules in these areas: health and wellness, meals and nutrition, financial aid, expenses and benefits related to pre- and post-enrollment support, insurance and career transition, career pursuits, time demands, academic support, recruiting, and personnel. In order to add to the list, some unforeseen circumstances must arise. Any additions must conform to the values of higher education and intercollegiate athletics. To move items to this category, 3 of the 5 conferences must recommend the change, and then 60%, or 12 of the 20 presidents serving on the board, must approve. From this list, a specific proposal for a new rule may be introduced into the legislative process by support of one of the 5 conferences. This proposal will be reviewed by a presidential group that consists of representation from all 5 conferences to ensure it is germane to the list of approved areas. When a proposal is sponsored, the entire Division I membership will have 60 days to comment. The 5 conferences will hold a forum to discuss proposed rule changes and then will take final votes during a business session. The president of each of the 65 member schools shall choose one person to vote for the school. Additionally, each of the 5 conferences will appoint 3 student-athlete representatives for a total of 80 votes. An item shall be approved with a simple majority vote by 3 of the 5 conferences and 60% of the 80 voting delegates, or a simple majority vote by 4 of the 5 conferences and a simple majority vote of the 80 voting delegates. Decisions will be final and not subject to override. The Council will govern the remaining legislative areas, including championships administration, membership, and academic standards. Both the Council governance process and the system within the 5 conferences will be guided by the shared principles of health and wellness of and time demands on student-athletes. The Council governance legislative process will have a 4-2-1 weighted voting system. The votes of each of the 5 autonomy conferences will count 4 times. The votes of the other 5 FBS conferences will count twice. The remaining 22 conferences, 2 faculty athletics representatives, and 2 student-athletes votes count once. The 4 commissioner votes are weighted according to the subgroup they represent. If legislation has 85% approval, it may not be rescinded or reconsidered except through additional legislation after a required 2-year waiting period has expired. Any other adopted legislation by the Council can be subject to a rescission process. If 66.7% of active Division I member institutions request a rescission within a 60-day period of adoption, rescission of any legislation would restore the applicable bylaw to its original state.